Okay guys, this is my third time trying this. Let's hope it works out now. Okay, it was December 17th and my in-laws were leaving to Mexico to go see their family. And because my fiance's grandma was sick. And I was sitting here at the table and it was like really chaotic and they were like about to leave and I felt like a trickle. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? And then I was like, that's embarrassing if I peed myself. I mean, imagine if you peed yourself, that would be really embarrassing. And like, since I really didn't have like bladder control because the baby was like on my bladder, like that's what I thought it was. And like I went to the bathroom and like I checked and like my underwear were like soaked. And then I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? Not thinking that it could be my water. And then like it started gushing and then I was like, oh my gosh. And then I opened up the bathroom door and I had like my pants down kind of. And then my mother-in-law was right there and one of my sister-in-law. And then I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, I think my water broke. And then my fiance comes running from our room. What did you say? And I was like, I think my water broke. And then like I just felt really sick. Like I got like so pale and like, oh, I felt like throwing up. And then they were like, my mother-in-law was like, it's okay, calm down, just breathe. And like, so I was breathing. I felt better. And I had the baby's backpack, but I didn't have my backpack because I was only 36 weeks, not even 36 weeks yet. And I was like, he's not gonna come this early, and I wasn't due till January. And then so I had his bag packed, but I needed to like get my stuff ready, so I just like threw a whole bunch of crap into like a big duffel bag. And I didn't even have like chonies to wear like when you're bleeding, like for pads, because I don't wear pads. So I had to like just get a whole bunch of like other kind, I don't know, and then I just threw them all in there. And my mother-in-law was telling me, it's okay, you won't need them anyways because they give some to you when you're at the hospital. So, and then they still had to leave to Mexico. Like, they really had to. So, they were leaving and we, like, what is that noise? I don't know. And then my mother-in-law called my fiance's aunt to come and watch the girls because they were staying with us. And then so we like got our stuff ready and then like we got into the car and we were like on our way over there. I wasn't like in pain or anything. I was just like gushing water and like my fiance was like, yes babe, that's your water. And then but I wasn't like thinking of anything. So we were like going and I wasn't even like leaking like in the car or anything. But then I wasn't having contractions. Like I would feel like they were like mini, like just cramps. And they weren't that, maybe like every 7 minutes or around there. And they would last for like 30 seconds. And then we got like to the hospital and I had it registered because I was only 36 weeks and I had my next doctor's appointment was on that following Monday. So my doctors were gonna give me like all my paperwork then. So I had like no paperwork and like had to register. Oh my gosh, it was so annoying. And the nurse was like, do you want to sit down and wait? And I was like, no, do you think I want to sit down? Stupid lady. I was like really angry. And then they're like, okay, we're going to take you up to like labor and delivery. And then like they were like, do you want a wheelchair? I was like, no, I'm fine, I could walk. So then I walked up there and then the nurse up there, she was like really rude. She was like, first she was telling me that I had to go home. I was like, my water broke. She's like, well, we can't accept you because we don't know anything about like your history and like how your pregnancy was or anything. And I was like so pissed. I was like, dude, my water broke. And she was like, oh, how come you didn't tell me? And I was like, how did you not know if I freaking just registered right now and they told you on the phone before I came up here? And she was like, okay, well, we're gonna I'm gonna give you a gallon and then we're gonna give me a urine sample and then we're gonna check you to see if it was really your water. I was like, oh no, I'm just leaking pee constantly for the last half an hour, lady. Whatever. And then so she checked me and she's like, yes, it's definitely your water. And then she like we had to ask me like a bajillion trillion questions about like my medical history. And then she wanted to like take my blood and stuff, like to make sure I like had like, nothing was like really wrong with me, and they needed to know like my blood type in case they needed to do like a transfusion and all of that. And then so they did that. They took like some blood, and then they called like the labs that like my test results were sent to. So they got some test results, and like everything was fine. I didn't have any problems during my pregnancy. And then she's like, well, you're only 35 weeks and 6 days. So I don't know. So she thought like, well, why is your water breaking like this early? You know, maybe you have like infection or something. So then they gave me antibiotics through IV. And oh my gosh, I hated the IV. It sucked. Like, oh, it's probably like the worst pain. And then she couldn't like put it in my vein, and like I'm like really white and you can see my veins, but she like put it like way up here. But you can still see my veins up there. Maybe not on the webcam, but you can like in real life. And then she was like, okay, so she put in my IV, and then we were like going crazy, and we like thought the baby was gonna be born, but like I wasn't having regular contractions. Like they started being like spaced out like every like 10 minutes, and then like one would come like after half an hour, and they'd only be like 15 seconds long. So then they wanted to start me on Pitocin, but they had to do the antibiotic, like they had to do a little bit of that first, and it made me so cold. She had to keep bringing me like warm blankets. Oh, it was so good. It was really cold because antibiotics, like they're like cold. And then they started the Pitocin, and then they had to like change shifts. So I had another nurse come in, and she was telling me, I know you're gonna hate me and everything, but I really like my patients to have like an active labor, so I want you to be walking around on the birthing ball, on the rocking chair, and switching and changing up positions. And I was like, oh yeah, that's fine. Thought that then. And she's like, but you're gonna hate me later. And she's like, and the Pitocin doesn't make your contractions worse, they just make them come on, and you don't know what a contraction really is, so you're gonna think it's making it worse. And I was like, yeah. And then what happened after that? And when I first got there, they checked me, and I was like 2 centimeters dilated, 2 to 3, she said. And then a little bit later, after the Pitocin, maybe like a couple hours later, and it was at like, this was at 7 o'clock in the night when my water broke. So maybe a couple hours later, like around 10, my mother-in-law kept calling because she like seriously thought the baby was already coming. But the lady was like, no, it's probably gonna take like until tomorrow. So then what happened after that? I don't remember. She was like talking to me about like the pain options or whatever, and I was like, I'm definitely gonna want an epidural, like definitely. And then she's like, well, we really don't like giving epidurals, but I mean, if it's really that bad, then I guess like if you ask for it, we have to do it. And then she like I was progressing, like she checked me again, and I was like 3 to 4, yeah, 3 to 4. And then she was trying to get me because like my cervix, like I was 100% effaced, and like my cervix was like tilted, and she wanted it to like come down like on both sides, and it was only down on one side. So she kept like making me like get into like these horrible positions, and by then my contractions were already getting like really bad. And then I couldn't even like stand or anything, so she told me to go onto like the rocking chair, and I was just sitting on it rocking, and I had to pee like every 5 seconds, and the nurse was probably getting like really mad at me because every time I peed they had to come and fix my monitors. And then so they kept like losing the baby's heartbeat because like I would have to get up and go pee and take the monitors off. Okay, so I'm gonna end this and do part 2.